We've been waiting to hear the outcome of Max Purcell's doping case, and now we know he has been handed down an 18-month ban from authorities. This was due to exceeding the 100 millilitre limit when receiving intravenous fluids last December, and it really has sent shockwaves around the Australian tennis community.
Absolutely, it's divided the tennis world as well. You know Max well. Have you spoken to him? Have you heard from him?
Yeah, I reached out to Max. Obviously, this is an incredibly difficult moment for him. He alluded to the fact that he has been battling mentally and physically, having to go through this drawn-out case. He was notified by the authorities back in December, obviously took off January up until now, so he skipped the Australian summer, and now he has to deal with what is a lengthy time away from the tennis courts, Roz.
And where do you sit in all this, John? There sounds like a bit of double standards. We've had Sinners only get 3 months, and Swiatek only get 3 months for, well, it looks like similar things for people who are not in the know. A couple of questions is, where do you sit? Is it too harsh? And secondly, why would he do it? Why would he take, well, it doesn't sound like necessarily an illegal substance, but why would he do it wrong? Why would he take 500 mils of it rather than just the 100 mils?
Well, I'll answer the second question first. First of all, the 500 mils, that's what's in question. And I want to stress the fact that the doping authorities have alluded to the fact that there was no performance-enhancing substance in this fluids. It was strictly fluids and vitamins that he received in Bali. So you're allowed to have 100 mils of this intravenous fluids. He exceeded that amount. It turned into a bit of a he said, she said scenario where he said that he alerted the fact that he wanted only 100 mils. It was exceeded to the 500 mils mark. And look, Tubbs, it's not too foreign for players to try to have these intravenous fluids and always trying to push the limits as to recovery. He said that he was a bit ill in Bali, and I have to believe him. He's a Davis Cup teammate of mine, and I just think it's absolutely ridiculous that we've seen inconsistencies with former other players, as we saw. You touched on Iga Swiatek, Jannik Sinner, be handed what was deemed quite light bans in relation to Max's 18 months. And I've been one of Jannik Sinner's biggest advocates. I really do think that he was hard done by. But if he was hard done by, well, Max has been throwing the kitchen sink at him.
And let's talk about what this could potentially do for tennis. It's obviously been under quite a lot of scrutiny over the last 12 months with a lot of these doping allegations, a lot of these inconsistencies. But if you think about the integrity of sport, it's the foundation of everything that we do. And from what I've seen from tennis, particularly in the last 12 months, is that they're showing that the value of the tennis player is almost worth more than their actual values. And what do you think that's doing for the fans? What do you think that's doing for the players in terms of the credibility of the sport?
Well, it's not great, is it, really? We've seen the PTPA, which is a players' union, so to speak, led by Novak Djokovic and Vasek Pospisil. Well, they've currently got a court case against the ATP and WTA for this very reason, how there's inconsistencies with player standards and player treatment. And this is actually one of the things that's been brought to the attention in this court case, that they believe that players aren't getting a fair whack. I mean, you don't have to even look back too far to see what happened to Tara Moore. She's a British doubles player, obviously doesn't necessarily have the high profile of some of our top players. She was actually proved innocent after being out of the game for 12 months. She wasn't allowed to play tennis. And at the end of that, she was proved innocent. So she essentially was sat on the sideline for something that she didn't do. I just think there's double standards here. And in a world where it has to be black and white, we're dancing in areas of shade at the moment.
Max is 27 years old. To sit on the sideline for 18 months at his age, is there a chance he won't come back? Or how hard will the road back be for you?
Oh, look, Max is incredibly talented too, and he managed to do a lot of his damage on the doubles court, but he's just as good of a singles player, and he's going to be extremely motivated. But it's so important right now that his team, his family, his friends and the Federation really get behind him and support him through what will be an extremely difficult time, both physically, making sure you're staying in shape, but also mentally. What he's had to go through so far, I can only imagine how difficult it's been. And you know, I'm here for him. I know all the Davis Cup boys are there for him, and I just really hope that he can keep himself in shape mentally and physically and come back and attack the tour in 18 months' time.
John, you mentioned it's often black and white, and being a former administrator, and this is really hard, but what would you like to see from the governing bodies? Because, yes, as Ellie alluded to, they've got the integrity of the sport to worry about. Yes, they've got to worry about Max Purcell, but also the integrity of the sport. What would you like to see from them? Go hard, draw a line in the sand, or more case-by-case dealing with this sort of thing?
Look, I think it has to be case by case, but there has to be consistencies in rulings. I mean, I think that is as clear as anything. And look, even after the Yannick Sinner case, we've already looked to in the future to raise the threshold, because 56,000 times smaller than a grain of salt clearly, as was deemed by independent bodies, was not performance enhancing. But then again, on the flip side, every player has to have equal opportunity to defend themselves. It shouldn't be a checkbook thing. It shouldn't be, if I can afford the best lawyers, I'm going to get off with the least amount of punishment.